everybody's talking about it as if it's going to be some massive game changer. And I remember retaliatory eviction. That was going to be stopped. I remember the Habitation Act. That was going to be some sort of game changer. So I think there's kind of two things, really. Is firstly, nobody panic because it's not in yet. And secondly, we have a long way to go before we actually know what the outcome of this bill is, because it's going to take, I mean, you're better on timings than me. How long is this going to take to go through Parliament before it actually makes a difference to a tenant or landlord?
Well, exactly, and this is the big question, because they're actually doing the second reading. So the way Parliament works is the first reading is literally they present a bill and they read out the title.
And that's done.
That took, I mean, we were watching Parliament TV after Prime Minister's question time there, and then literally 2 seconds came on and then that was moved on. But they set the date for the second reading. Oh, wow. So that will be the first opportunity that MPs will be able to get up and debate and give their views on the bill. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the reaction of the MPs are going to be on this, and on what sections they think are important to them, and what areas that they think there might be amendments or changes in there. So we know that's going to happen, and then I think they're going to try and crack on with the next stage, the committee stages and everything else. Their logic was that with a white paper that the heavy lifting had already been done, because they'd already published the details, they'd been out to consultation, etc., etc. So everybody agrees it. So what's in there is everybody agrees. Well, let's wait and see, because you never know with Parliament, when MPs, and things have changed. This was mooted back in 2019, these sort of reforms, especially the eviction Section 21, and we're still not there.
Yeah. And, I mean, from my side, the biggest problem is that we already have over 168 laws. We already have over 400 rules and regulations. So, and most of those are to protect tenants. Rightly so, have no issue with that. But if after that we're still calling the rental market the Wild West, if we move to 175 laws and 500 rules and regulations, why is it going to make any difference? Because I haven't seen any extra money for enforcement. And getting rid of Section 21 is like, well, we all know on the ground in the industry, this idea that it's some nasty landlord, which will on occasion evict people just for the hell of it and to get more money, but mostly they evict them for all the reasons that are in Section 8. It's down to they haven't paid the rent, there's a social antisocial issue, or they want to move back into the home. And all I think is going to happen with getting rid of Section 21, for example, which is one of the big things it's said will make a difference, is that we'll just know that the main reason Section 21 was issued was for rent arrears, antisocial behaviour, and because the landlord wanted to sell, or a lot of them wanted to move back into the home. So all it'll do is just clarify that Section 21 was never a no-fault eviction, and it won't make any difference, just like Retaliatory Eviction Act didn't make any difference, or the Habitation Act hasn't made any difference, or indeed, going further back, although the Housing Health and Safety Rating System has made some difference, I'd still say that most landlords and some agents still have never heard of it.
Well, I do agree with some of those points, Kate, but what fundamentally they are changing what a type of tenancy that's going to be available. So just like Scotland and Wales have now moved to these periodic rolling tenancies, we've got rid of the assured short hold tenancy, and we've now got the assured tenancy that can only be for 28 days or a month, and what is that message going to be sending out to the market?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, when this all started, this was all about security of tenancy agreement and making the tenants feel secure. So 3-year agreements, do you remember those?
Yes.
And loads of them introduced in London. Really good idea. Well, now there's no security, neither for the landlord or the tenant. So for me, if I was going to, let's rate it out of 10, I'd give it 4 or 5. How about you?
Well, for effort, I think, yeah,
Well, effort's
maybe
about
5 or 6
25.
for effort. But yes, of course, how is that going to be applied? And like everything else, you know, the more complicated you make laws, the more open they are to interpretation, the harder they are to comply to the letter of the law, and
more difficult to enforce.
And understand really. I mean, you move somebody into a property, and they say, I like that property. I like the little schools there. I've got a 3-year-old toddler, a nice nursery school, there's a nice a primary school, and you'll say, well, actually, we're only going to be able to give you a 1-month tenancy, and at any time I can give you 2 months' notice. I'll have to give you a reason, but, you know, you could be given that 2-month notice. You're not going to feel that security. I do understand that. You know,
I just don't think it delivers what tenants or landlords need for a good functioning PRS
okay.
market.
So I think we might have some kickback from both sides of the equation. You know, those people that you know, are behind the market will say, well, actually, this doesn't work, especially in things like students, and you'll get some of the tenant groups saying, well, you know, we need longer notice periods or a more security of tenure. Now, you know,
and you'd think after 4 years they'd work that out.
And yeah, I think you're right. Like, if you're going to bring in a law, you know, you want to make things better, in my view, you know, and improve a situation and build relationships. If you bring something in where you're actually going to divide people, I think that's going to be a big question. Now, their intention is not in that, and if you read very carefully,
I get that, but
they are trying to harmonise this and get that together.
But I think they've really failed on that front.
Okay. Well, we'll wait and see, you know, how it's applied. But you're right. I mean, there is a potential there that it could become very fractious.